Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, we just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate your support. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, it's totally free, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest stories. Now, with all that said, let's jump straight into the story.
The rhythmic, insistent knocking started precisely at 4:44 a.m. Elara learned to dread it. It clawed at her sanity, a nightly horror show with no audience but her. The first few nights, she'd flung the door open, heart hammering against her ribs, only to be met with the silent, pre-dawn stillness of her apartment hallway. Then came the security camera. It captured nothing. Just the hum of the apartment building, the dim spill of emergency lighting, and at 4:44 a.m., a sound like knuckles rapping against aged wood, a sound that seemingly materialized from thin air. Next, she installed a heavy-duty deadbolt and chain. The knocking remained unfazed, as if the sound itself was an entity, independent of physical force. Desperation led to slumber parties. Her friends, Maya and Liam, armed themselves with baseball bats and energy drinks, perched on her sofa ready to pounce. They heard it. They verified she wasn't hallucinating. The fear on their faces mirrored her own. Yet, the knocking continued, louder now, more frantic, like a desperate plea. Maybe it's plumbing? Liam suggested weakly after a particularly harrowing night. Elara shook her head, exhaustion etched into her face. I had the building super check. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The knocking was escalating. It was no longer a polite tap, but a brutal pounding, shaking the very foundation of her door. It was driving her mad. Sleep was a luxury she could barely afford. Every night, she lay in bed, her nerves stretched taut, waiting for the inevitable, the chilling chime-like quality of her alarm clock creeping towards the dreaded hour. She started researching paranormal phenomena, quantum entanglement, alternate realities. She clung to any explanation that offered a sliver of hope. One night, driven to the brink, Elara armed herself with a kitchen knife. She was terrified, but the terror of the unknown, the endless torment, was eclipsing the fear of what might be on the other side of the door. Tonight, she decided she would face her tormentor. It was 4:44 a.m., and the knocking began. It was a cacophony, a furious barrage that threatened to splinter the door. Elara's hand trembled on the doorknob. She braced herself, took a shaky breath, and threw it open. Standing there, illuminated by the hallway's dim light, was her. It was undeniably her, but wrong. Her doppelganger was soaked in blood, her face contorted in terror, her clothes ripped and torn. One arm was clutched protectively around her stomach, blood seeping through her fingers. Her eyes, usually bright and filled with a quiet determination, were wide with a primal fear that mirrored the horror bubbling inside Elara. Please, the bleeding version of her rasped, her voice hoarse and strained. Let me in. They're coming. Elara stood frozen, the knife clattering to the floor. Her mind struggled to reconcile what she was seeing with any semblance of logic. What is this? She stammered. The bleeding Elara's eyes widened further, desperation flooding her face. It's you. It's me. I had a different timeline. I didn't open the door in time. Please, you have to help me. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from down the hallway, growing closer with terrifying speed. Please, her doppelganger screamed, collapsing against the doorframe. Don't make the same mistake I did. Elara's mind finally snapped into action. Logic be damned. This wasn't a ghost, a demon, or a hallucination. This was her, and she needed help. She reached out, grabbed her bleeding counterpart by the arm, and hauled her inside. The heavy door slammed shut, the deadbolt clicking into place. The pounding footsteps abruptly stopped just outside. Elara leaned against the door, panting, staring at the bleeding, terrified version of herself huddled on the floor. She had opened the door. Now, the real nightmare was only just beginning. What had she let in? And why were they coming for her? She had no idea, but one thing was certain. She was no longer alone in her fight against the 4:44 a.m. knock. She had just given herself a fighting chance, a desperate ally in a battle against an unknown, terrifying enemy. The silence outside the door was now far more terrifying than the pounding had ever been. The knocking never returned. Not that night. Not the next. Not once in the nights that followed. The silence was deafening. Elara sat across from herself, the wounded version, the one she had let in. They didn't speak much at first. Not because they didn't want to, but because neither could find the language to articulate what was happening. The other Elara was healing unnaturally fast. Her wounds sealed over within hours. The bruises faded. Her eyes slowly lost the edge of primal fear, replaced by something stranger, a haunted calm, like someone who had made peace with horror itself. Elara tried questions. What happened? Who was after you? Her double would only reply, you'll see. Soon. By the 5th day, Elara began noticing oddities. Her reflection in the mirror lagged. Just a flicker, a moment of delay when she turned her head, but it wasn't her. It was the other one staring back. Sometimes she'd wake up and find the double standing at the window, motionless, watching the street below. Once she found her double speaking into the unplugged landline, whispering numbers. Long strings of them like coordinates. When she confronted her, she simply said, "They're listening now. I have to warn them." "Elara," she snapped. "I'm Elara. Who the hell are you?" But her doppelganger just smiled, vacant and knowing. Night 6. 4:44 a.m. It came again. Knocking. This time from inside the apartment. Elara bolted upright, heart thundering. Her double was already awake, standing in the hallway, staring at the bathroom door where the knocking was coming from. Slow and deliberate. It wasn't the frenzied pounding of before. This was patient. Confident. It knew she was listening. She approached. "Who's in there?" The door creaked open on its own. Darkness poured from it like smoke. Not metaphorically. Actual darkness, like liquid night, thick and suffocating. Something stepped out. No features. Just a man-shaped silhouette, smooth and inky black, as though someone had erased the figure from reality. But its eyes, they shimmered like shards of a broken mirror. They reflected her own face. Elara tried to run. Her double grabbed her wrist. "You can't run. If he marks you, it's done. He erases your existence. From every version of reality. That's why I ran. But it only bought time." The hollow man raised a hand, and Elara felt her memory stutter. She couldn't remember her own last name. Then her birthday. Then her parents' faces. Piece by piece he was unmaking her. Her double turned to her, voice low and steady. "That's where I locked him in my timeline. When I didn't open the door in time. He followed me here." Elara's blood ran cold. "Who?" Her double's voice cracked. "The hollow man." Her double stepped forward. "Take me," she whispered. "I'm the one who brought her into this. I broke the boundary. Take me back." The hollow man tilted its head, and he paused. Then it lunged, fast as thought, and swallowed the other Elara in one shuddering inhale. No scream. No sound. She simply vanished. Silence. The hollow man turned its head to Elara once more, and then it stepped backward into the bathroom and closed the door. It was over, or so she thought. The next day, Elara went to a cafe. She tried to act normal, ordered her coffee, smiled at the barista. But the girl behind the counter stared at her strangely. "Elara?" she asked cautiously. "You're back." Elara blinked. "Have we met?" The barista paled. "You don't remember me? We were best friends in high school. I was at your funeral 2 years ago." She ran. Everywhere she went, people knew her. But their stories didn't match. Some remembered her with green eyes, not brown. Some said she was an artist. Others said she died in a car crash at 17. The truth hit her like a freight train. The hollow man hadn't just erased her double. It had rewritten the timelines. All of them. And she was the wrong version. An anomaly. A glitch. Each night the knocking returns. Not on her door this time. Inside her mind. 4:44 a.m. Every morning. Knock. 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 And sometimes, just sometimes, when she passes a mirror, it doesn't show her reflection. It shows the hollow man. Smiling. Let us know in the comments section, would you have let in your doppelganger?
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts? Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare,